Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into understanding JSX in React. JSX is a powerful feature that allows us to write HTML-like syntax directly in our JavaScript code, making it easier to create dynamic and interactive user interface. So let's get started. First, we create our React project. You go into the directory of where you want to create your React project. Before we create the React project, if you have not watched the video on how to set up React on your machine, I recommend watching my previous video on how to do it. So let's get started. You run npm create at vite npm create vite at latest. So where it says project name, you type in the name of the so where it says project name, you type in the name you want to use for your project. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'll use projects. And then we select React. And then we select JavaScript. So the next thing we need to do is, as we can see here, it says now run. So we need to cd into the project folder. So cd and then the name of your project. So mine is project. And then you run npm install. This should install all the necessary dependencies needed for the React project to run. So once the installation process is done, we can run code space and dot, and this would open the project in Visual Studio Code. Once again, if you do not have this set up, I recommend watching my previous video on how to set up React on your machine. So as you can see, the project is opened, and this is our file structure, how it is. So let's close this one here. Let's go into the src folder. So let's open the main.jsx. So the main.jsx is the first file the React would render. But when we come into the main.jsx, it is rendering the app component. And the app component can be found in the app.jsx, which makes this file the first one to render by React. So before we start, I would delete everything inside over here, and delete this one as well. First, let's understand what JSX is. JSX stands for JavaScript XML, and it's a syntax extension for JavaScript that allows us to write HTML-like code. This makes it easier to create React elements and render them to the DOM. So let's take a look at this. So first of all, in order to use the JSX functions, you need to create a component. A component in JSX is a reusable piece of code. So it's something you create and then you can reuse it as many times as you want. So in this example, let's create a functional component. So we start by writing function and then the name of your function. Let's call this app. And in order to use this function in other files, we need to export the function. So we export default and then app. Then we save that. So before we start running our React project, we need to open our terminal right over here. So you can go over to view and then terminal. View terminal. So this should open the terminal. Run npm run dev. This should run the project on your local machine. And here we have it. We have the link right here. So you control and click to open the link in your browser. So this is it. It's a blank space with nothing in it. So back to our code. Inside our app component. So in every component, you need to return a JSX code. So we return, so in here, let's return a div. And inside this div, let's return an h1 element called hello JSX. And then let's return a paragraph element as well, which says this is. Once we save that and see the output, we can see hello JSX and then this is a JSX component. So when we take a closer look at this syntax, JSX syntax resemble HTML, but it's important to remember that it's not HTML. JSX gets transformed into regular JavaScript functions. In this example right here, we have a functional component called app. And then the app returns JSX right here. As you can see, we are using HTML tags to define the structure of our component. Next, let's talk about JSX expressions. So inside this component, we can say const and then name. And then we set the name to, let's say, John. So JSX allows us to embed JavaScript expressions within curly braces directly in our JSX code. This allows us to this allows us to dynamically render content based on variables, functions, or expressions. So for example, this name, and then let's say another const, let's name it greeting. Let's set it equal to h2 element, let's say hello, and then curly braces, and then our variable name, which is name, right here. So in this return statement right here, inside the div, we can first, the reason why we are using a div, because we want to be able to use multiple elements. So inside this div, we can say curly braces and then greeting. Let's save and then see the output. You can see it has rendered hello John in our file. You can see right here. So in this example, we have JSX expression name embedded within our JSX code. This expression evaluates the name variable, allowing us to dynamically render a personalized greeting over here. Finally, let's discuss JSX attributes and event handling. Just like in HTML, JSX allows us to set attributes on our elements and handle events using event handlers. So right over here, let's create a function. Let's call this function handle click. And in this function, let's use a simple alert dialog box. Let's say button clicked. And over here below our paragraph, let's create a button. In this button, let's give it an on click, and an on click attribute will be set equal to a curly braces, and inside these curly braces we put in the name of our function, which is handle click. Let's give this button a name. Let's call it click me. Let's save this and see the output. So we can see there's this button right here, click me. Once we click on it, we have this alert which says button clicked. So let's change, we can change what the alert says to button has been clicked. Let's say that, see the output. Once we click on that, it says button has been clicked. So in this example, we have written, in this example, we have a button element with an on click attribute that has been set to a function right over here, handle click. This function gets called once the button is clicked. And there we have it, a comprehensive guide to understanding JSX. I hope this video has helped you gain a better understanding of JSX and how to use in your React application. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.